Hi, and welcome to our CEO interview session today. Today we are joined by Stefan from Brain Vector, and this is going to be a fascinating conversation. Welcome, Stefan.
Thank you, Steve.
Now, this is an area of personal interest to me. The area of mental health is something that I've been passionate about for a long time. It's not something I publicly talk about too much, but on the Wholesale Investor side, we've been very proactive in hosting sessions, inviting people to come and talk, because this is an area which impacts many people. Now, I come at it from the point of view from a founder's perspective. You've come at it from a very holistic perspective. So as a first step, please provide us with an introduction to Brain Vector.
Actually, Brain Vector is a company that is looking at how we can use the power of positive emotions in order to improve our mental health. That's in a few words. And we use for that super high tech, like AI generative systems, and also we immerse the patients and the users in virtual reality. Our main objective is really to bring to people the feeling of these good feeling emotions by using all this technology, and it's your own emotions, your own personal memories that we use for that, and these emotions actually release the neurotransmitters that make you feel good, like serotonin, dopamine, or oxytocin. So I can explain a bit more scientifically later if you want.
I was going to say, so that's the technical version.
Yeah.
Now give me the human version.
The human version.
Imagine I'm, give me your ideal sort of customer.
Yes. So I make you, from your own personalized memories, I make you feel the best, good, positive emotions that can extract from you and helping you to overcome any mental challenge and improve your mental well-being.
So let's say I'll give an exact scenario, right? Because this is typically my brain goes to where I envision it. So I imagine, someone in a nursing home, or someone who maybe lives by themselves, who's a bit older, and loneliness is a big issue, as an example, and it's something that gets talked about. So give us an example of how the Brain Vector solution can assist someone in that sort of scenario.
Yeah, and you ask a good example, because that was my first prototype that I developed in 2019. It was for people living in aged care. And as you mentioned, they are living with a bit of loneliness, social isolation, depression, anxiety is a common disorder in aged care. So I interview a few residents, and I ask very simple questionnaire that we have developed about their positive memories. What makes you feel good and happy? What makes you feel confident? What makes you feel and giving joy? Very simple question related with the positive emotions. From there, we use large language models to create a script. And from this script, we ask also the resident to have some pictures. We were talking about a lady that she wanted to relive the travel that she had with her husband. And so we took picture of the husband, we took picture of the way where she was going in travel. And then from there, we create a virtual reality experience. And then she's totally back in that moment. We create the voice of anyone or any relatives, and she can relive this moment. This moment create these emotions and actually release what I'm saying, all the neurotransmitters, and then create happiness, create good feeling. And when she was taking off the mask, she was in tears of happiness.
Wow.
And then it was a person that
It's personal to her.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's make us extremely different than the other solutions that are actually provided for the VR, but I can tell you more about that later. But she was really feeling that inside her. It was impossible to relive that really. She can't go in another country. Her husband is unfortunately passed away, so impossible. But with the technology, we can put her back in and only reliving the positive moment. It's not sad, it's extremely positive for her. And from there, it was a person that a bit introvert, not talking a lot with the others. After that, big smile, and go to talk with the others and creating connections with the other residents. And then they had lots of laugh and lots of connection. And, oh, do you remember that? And it totally transformed the atmosphere of the room after just one.
Unbelievable. And one of the things I found really interesting, and this comes from our first discussion, this is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about the potential for technology, for AI, for software, etc., is when you first described that to me, my first thought was, that seems cumbersome. Like the amount of effort you would need to go to create that if you didn't have AI, as an example. And then as soon as I understood that, straight away you thought, okay, I could see how you can systemize that, how you can say, give me your perspective on how the utilization of the VR, but also the combination of the generative AI and the own person supplying their own material. That process of how you've been able to make it scalable, effectively AI-led from a product perspective and personalized at the exact same time.
Absolutely. And when I was describing this first experience in 2019, it cost me close to $30,000 for one experience, because I had to go to a company for VR and then giving all the picture, transforming all the picture and coding. Impossible, the experience. That's what I want to prove, that when you create that boost of emotion, you have a very, very positive outcomes. But in terms of scalability, in terms of make that a product viable, impossible. So I let that dormant. And then into 2023, two big things happen in my professional life. ChatGPT, AI, or machine learning system accessible. And I met Dan. Dan is my co-founder. He's a AI genius, and he says, Steph, I love what you're doing. Yes, we can do it. And we can do it instead of $30,000, probably in a few months or year, it's going to be $30.
Yeah.
Great. So then let's talk about a business. Yeah. Let's talk about create a company. And then that's what we started about almost 2 years ago now. And then that's why we raised our first angel fund, we put a patent, and we made quite a decent market validation. So we are in a good position now. We know what we go, we know where we want to go, and we know that it's possible technically. And then, last thing about technology and AI, almost every day, we discussed that before the interview, almost every day, there is new feature, new accessibility, new system to generate images from, you even now create video from a picture.
First thing that went through my head, you can imagine how those photos will soon become videos.
Yes. So I'm definitely not afraid, and even very comfortable that we position ourselves in front of the train of technology and AI, and we move and we create a company that is flexible enough to adapt every experience. When a client is coming and having one experience with the psychologist for treating depression, the next month is coming for the next session with the psychologist with our solution. Probably this next will be produced in a different way because the technology has evolved. And that's how I want this company to be, is evolving with the technology. I spent 11 years to develop medical drugs for different neurological condition. It takes 12 years from when you discover a drug until you have this drug on the market.
Some are longer.
And you can't change anything in 12 years. You can't evolve because you develop one molecule and you have to go there and then it stays like a block. Here, we can every day, we can actually produce a new version without disrupting the development of our solution.
Incredible. And for you, obviously I know who the end user is. Who do you see as your customer?
It's a B2B to C.
Yeah.
So we actually looking at two different business model. One is called mental health.
Yeah.
So it's a solution that we develop in the future, but not now, but in the future, we're going to go for a medical device, but we can already go into the market as what we call a companion tool for psychologists. So it will be an add-on on their existing psychotherapy to treat mental health, mental issues like mood disorder, depression, anxiety. But it is not a sole solution. It's an add-on therapy existing, and that's why we are running a clinical trial on that. So that's one objective. We also explore how we can have our solutions in add-on with MDMA in PTSD patients. Very, very interesting project we have with Flinders University. And the last project we are running at the moment is with aged care. So, and it's a very, very interesting, and I'm very passionate by that as well, because when an elderly person is hospitalized, even sometimes for a few months, because they hip fracture, it's take quite a while, and then suddenly the family say, "Oh, mom, I'm sorry, you can't go home." Steve, it's a drama for them. It's a drama because
I've just experienced this personally.
You even don't give the chance of that person to go back home and just take a picture of something of them. They just transfer to this hospital, to a new environment, totally new. It's not my house. It's
Different
with other people.
sounds that they don't like, food that they don't want to eat.
Exactly, and then the family will bring that and that, but it's a drama. They are transferred from a hospital, which is not a very, let's say, welcoming environment, to another totally unknown environment. You're 90 years old, you live 60 years or 50 years in your home, and everything is about your home, and then you are just in just environment. What happens often is this person actually are anxious, depression, the first weeks or month, even sometimes they die quite quickly. And so what we observe in that situation is these persons present anxiety, depression, stress, cognitive decline, and even sometimes aggressivity. So it's very hard for the staff because they want to welcome this person, and then it's struggling. So what we have actually in the trial at the moment is we take a 360 video of the new room, and we ask the question about personalization. Who are the person that you love to be with? Which place you like to be? And with this information, and then for that, the old lady said, "Oh, I love my grandson. He's living in UK, but I love when he's coming and things." So we create an avatar with a picture of the grandson, and actually the grandson in the VR is presenting the new environment. So first, we create a positive reaction because, "Oh, my grandson," so very boost of good emotions. And we also have just with a picture of the two nurses that are there, we create two avatars of the nurses as well. And all these people actually create a very positive, welcoming virtual environment.
Got it.
So you have this, and when you move to the new environment, actually your brain has make a connection between this and a positive experience. And when this old lady will say, "Oh, I recognize that. Oh, I remember my grandson," and creating a much, much better feeling when you enter in that room. Very simple, technology easy to do. And now technology can do it.
And so that's, I love that sort of human personal experience that you outline. And obviously mental health is a big area. Like for you, when you're thinking about the rollout of this solution, obviously you're going through clinical trials at the moment. Two questions I have for you is, what does success look like from those clinical trials? And then what does success look like for you guys in the rollout of this product going to market?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in terms of mental health business unit, because we have a mental performance business unit, we can talk later. But in terms of mental health, our vision of success is being able to, after this 6 months trial, generate enough data to make a proper launch in Australia in the psychologist room by Q3, Q4 2025. Because with this companion tool for psychologists, it's by TGA excluded of being regulated. Because it's considered as a digital mental health tool, it's not directly at the moment a treatment medical device. We introduce that as a companion tool, and that's why we do that trial, to be sure that we have understanding how we introduce that in the room of the psychologist. and then we launch that without regulator. That means we save years and millions of dollars for doing a comparison trial and going to TGA. We will go to TGA.
Yep.
But our strategy is first launch, putting the market, generate revenue with the psychologist, and then going to TGA and then regulators, and potentially in the future being reimbursed.
Brilliant. So effectively, the mental health practitioners effectively become your channel partners for your product, but really your partners in the process.
Yes. And we made a market research with the psychologist, and on the psychologist surveyed, 98% of these psychologists said, yes, absolutely, I see brain vector solution in my room. And when we say, but how many patients? And they said about 1 patient on 3 will be benefit of having brain vector solutions for helping them in their mental health. And also another market research made about willing to pay. And actually, we were very surprised that they were willing to pay more than $130 for one experience. And our business model and our model were around $80. So we were very surprised that the willing to pay this is there as well, which is quite important.
Yes. Now, there's one other part. You mentioned that you're able, the goal is to get the cost down to $30 per session. And I imagine as the sort of rollout of AI continues and the training of the models sort of goes down, do you imagine that sort of cost continuing to decline?
Yes. Dan made a little projection, and he said probably in a few years it's going to cost us $5.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because the idea where also a vision of success in the next 6 months, we are going to produce a fully commercialized product that is 100% automatic. So the machine is generating the experience from A to Z, fully automatic, almost without any human hand in. At the moment, we're producing a semi-automatic solutions. We can produce about 5 to 10 experiences per week, but we still need a producer to put the whole thing together. And that's cost more than $30 at the moment. But in the future, it will be fully automatic, and that's why we are raising, and that's why we come to wholesale investors, because that's what we need to reach. It's a technical readiness level. We are at 3, we want to be at 5.
Got it. And for you, how do you see the valuation profile? You mean going that sort of technical readiness 5. So the use of funds is for going through these sort of technical trials and the experience.
Exactly.
And what does that, sort of following achieving that milestone, what takes place next?
So we call that our inflection point.
Yeah. Okay.
The inflection point is by end of Q2 or early Q3 2025. We have the data, and we are ready in technology. So that's the 2 main things we need to launch in the room of the psychologist. So we are, this afternoon, with our sales and marketing team, we are developing our strategy for launch strategy. So we will have a strong launching strat ready when we reach that inflection point. With the data, because we need data. That's what the psychologists say. I'm happy to provide that to my patient, but I need tangible data.
Makes sense.
We have some very early adopters that are in our clinical trial and say, oh, I love it, I want it now. And that's we have in our clinical trial. But the others, if we want to launch, because we have about 21,000 psychologists in private practice in Australia that we want to reach, and we need some tangible data and the technology. So that's why we are raising right now.
Brilliant. Well, Stefan, really appreciate your time today. I said, I absolutely love what you're doing. I said, this whole, one of the frustrations I have about the area of mental health as you see it is that quite often everyone's very quick to prescribe a pill to someone. And it was one of the best lessons I learned from one of our clients, which is Thomas from Neurocare Group, which I should do an introduction for. He said that one of the best things that they do typically is they sort of look at someone's sleep and diet patterns as a first step. What I love about what you're doing is one of the key drivers is that human experience. It's like, what are the memories that drive? I've seen it go through family members. where they've had sort of personal health issues or they've had that sort of loneliness. And sometimes it is a certain family member that can make the difference for their happiness in that day.
Absolutely.
And sometimes that family member is not always available to see them, albeit. So to be able to create that sort of experience, on demand or as part of someone's therapy is something which is exciting. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of areas you can go into. You mentioned about mental performance.
Yeah.
I can see exactly how that can play a role, etc. But the creation of, the enabling of people's potential, their memories, their sort of visual acuities that sort of, make them alive inside is something that I can see how it can make a massive difference in people's lives.
Yeah, that's thank you, Steve. Yeah, it's an amazing journey. It is actually starting from a simple clinical paper published in 2015 by a guy at MIT and published in Nature. And then he had a beautiful animal model that he said, when I'm reactivating the positive memory cells in the brain of my mice, I can reduce the symptom of depression. I was mind blown. I was running to my wife with this paper. Look, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. But impossible to do in human because you need lots of cables and things. And then I was starting to think, okay, what is the other mean to reactivate these positive memories? And that's how we develop Brain Vector.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much, Stefan, and keep up the good work with Brain Vector.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.